Thank you. It's great to be here. So, yeah, where am I? There. My sort of question today for you is, will copyright be saved? And I won't go into should it be saved. That's another area. So I want to discuss a bit about creativity and control and copyright and those issues. I do this too much, which means I can talk about it forever. So I have a slight problem. I have to figure out where the guy who's going to wave 5 minutes at me is sitting. Supposed to be sitting there. Okay, good. I will not be stopped, apparently. Okay, it all began with a really cool idea. Except this doesn't. Yes, there you go. And the idea is actually today, or this year, 300 years old. And it started with the Statute of Anne. This is England was in the height of its career as being the nation. They've lost that position, and they decide we have to do something. What they decided to do was to create a group, a legal group, and they were called the authors, the creators. And they had this wonderful idea that the authors, the creators, were actually providing something for society, and they needed to be protected in a really cool way. What they need to be protected from was very interesting. There were these ugly people called publishers who were actually taking the material and printing it without asking the authors. And this is the part I like the best, to their very great detriment and too often to the ruin of them and their families. It's a wonderful argument, and you see this today again and again and again. Think of the children. I mean, you have all these starving authors, well, and their families, my God. So, yeah, to do this, we created a copyright system which we all have sort of vaguely heard about or actually know too well. And this sort of leads up very quickly to the internet today. The interesting part, of course, with the copyright system is it's based on an analog system. It's based on the idea that to communicate information, you'll take it and you'll somehow package it in a dead tree. Now, of course, then music comes along, but even music at the time was packaged in dead trees, if you notice that. So the dead tree was a very central idea of copyright, but it's never actually mentioned in copyright law. There's no sort of part for the dead tree. Yeah, this also presents two dominant truths. This is the myth. This is where the myth of copyright was created, and these dominant truths are available everywhere today. First of all, no cash, no creation. This is this. Oh, you get this everywhere. How are the authors, the creators, going to survive? How will they make it in the real world if they don't get paid? And of course, the second one is everything. Everything is property. Now, 300 years ago, when the Statute of Anne came, this was not so clear that everything should be property. But today we've seen, because we've had the introduction of new technologies, we see, yes, everything is property. I mean, already 100 years ago, there was a wonderful discussion over whether or not photographs could actually be property, because there wasn't actually any effort in creating them. So goodbye photographers. But no, of course, we got that in and said, yes, that's it. Now, of course, we're discussing, well, what about the Pirate Bay? Are they actually stealing other people's stuff or not? Or are they helping to steal other people's stuff or not? And in that case, what are they doing? I sound like a terrible lisp here. So everything becomes property. And this is one of the dominant myths that you get every day today, and this is what you have to fight against. First of all, we have to remember that something happened. Technology shifts. The law, on the other hand, is very happy to say, it doesn't matter. We can be technology neutral. This is another great myth, but it's only believed by a group of people who study law, that you can create rules that have nothing to do with technology. I mean, this is really, really stupid, but really, really cool, because it means that we can create abstract norms. Of course, in the real world, technology is one of the main focuses of regulation in our lives. The fact that I can stand here and talk out to 100 people and to a lot more people is based on technology. So, of course, technology rules. Anyway, I want to put forward 3 crazy ideas that actually worked as examples or proof that the two dominant things, the two dominant truths I presented are actually not so correct. Since early in the morning, and it was for me at least, I want to bring you into this. So you're actually allowed to answer the questions I pose, or you're supposed to answer the questions I pose. So no just sitting in the dark and waiting for the answer. First of all, who is this man? Oh, yes, well done. Someone actually said Stallman. This is Richard Stallman. He is, well, he's a great man. He is actually one of the most influential people in our society today because of his technology and because of his licensing ideas. We have now got infrastructure which we use everywhere. Now, everyone has, of course, got a mobile phone. I say everyone, yes, I'm exaggerating, has a mobile phone. Most mobile phones are based partly on technology that he has developed or he has been a part of developing, or a philosophy that he has been part of developing. And yet he sort of goes, yeah, well, he's not important. His main crazy idea started in the 80s, where he said, I want to create an operating system that is owned by no one, that's free for everyone, and people can take it apart and do what they want with it. This is crazy talk. Now, of course, the nice thing is, it worked. Stallman proved empirically that economic control was, oops, my slides have gone funny, was not central to creation. But of course, I mean, I work with geeks. Geeks are nice people, but they're geeks. I mean, you put 10 geeks together, they'll do something, that's good. But in the real world, people don't act like this. Property, 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 we know this. This is what, I mean, you give a 3-year-old a toy, you let them play for 2 minutes, and you take it away, and he goes, mine, mine, mine. Of course we know this. This is a central truth. This guy, even less famous, or more famous, actually, depending on how you count. Jimmy Wales, there you go. Jimmy Wales, and even if you say the name, most people go, Jimmy Wales? Seriously, this guy is the creator of the central truth, the fountain of knowledge today. Jimmy Wales is the founder of Wikipedia. Now, seriously, if there's a stupider idea in the world, this really takes everything. He decided one day to say, well, let's create an encyclopedia. That's not new. But I don't want any educated editors. I don't want any control. I want all the idiots to write stuff. And then even better, I want all the other idiots to change what the first idiots wrote. And that's a good idea. Seriously, this is the kind of idea I have at 2 o'clock in the morning after too much wine. And I go, whoa, what was I thinking? Now, he, luckily, did not do that. 10 years ago, he started this thing. And today, you want information? Where do you go? You go to Wikipedia. He's actually changing the world and the way in which we look at culture. It's amazing. Right, another person, well, sorry, yes, I have to go what it's about as well. Wales proves, of course, that Stallman's ideas could be scaled up. And they could be about other stuff. There are people, nerds, but specialized nerds, who dedicate their lives to removing commas and punctuating articles in Wikipedia. I mean, without them, Wikipedia would be a mess. But seriously, these guys are really, really nerdy. But still, the myth persists. There are loads of articles. This is the way we create knowledge today. Still, no property. No property, no knowledge. Okay, this guy. Less famous, more central to my talk, but less famous. It's also a strange picture. Sorry about that. Oh, Larry Lessig, yes. This is a lawyer called Larry Lessig, and he had an idea. He said, if I create a licensing system, now all these people didn't do their stuff alone, of course, you know that, but if I create a licensing system, will people use them? How can I help people create stuff and share stuff on the internet? And he created a licensing system that nobody believed would be really, 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 really big. But now, my God, it is. All the amateurs, all the idiots, if you want, all the amateurs, the creators, we are now pumping out stuff on the internet. And a lot of us are actually doing it voluntarily, and we're giving it away for free. For this presentation, I used lots of images from Flickr, and they're all licensed on the Creative Commons license, so I can use them how I want. And people go, well, how do you find the pictures? Well, there's 140 million pictures on Flickr that are actually free. Well, if on the topic of Flickr, by the way, just sort of as an aside, there are 4 billion pictures on Flickr. There's 6 billion people in the world. Flickr has been around for 4 years, and there's 4 billion images. I think that's kind of scary, but okay. Anyway, let's keep going. At the same time, meanwhile, somewhere else, life goes on. And we have lots of stuff coming on that people are supposed to be sharing more and more stuff. And we are sharing more and more stuff. Sometimes we're doing it voluntarily, sometimes we're doing it involuntarily, sometimes we're doing it legally, sometimes we're doing it illegally. But we're just out there doing stuff, having fun. And, of course, this is not a problem until we have the idea that we have to remember that the control, the regulation that exists in the real world, or offline world, is the cult of the dead tree. We're still based there. We still have this idea of property and dominant property. Ooh, 5 minutes, my God. This is frustration. It also leads to something worse. It leads to people going, my God, copyright is for losers. It also leads to an idea of chaos. Now, chaos is not a good thing to have, so it leads to conflict. 2 different groups, different ideologies fighting. Creative Commons is hopefully an idea to help that. It's supposed to help us by shifting the norm system. Oh, come on. Oops. Flip, 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 there you go. It flips the default. Instead of everything being owned, everything out there being owned, you have an idea that some of it could be given away for free. There are 4 limitations to the everything is free stuff. There, 1, attribution. If you put a symbol like this on, you have to say who was the guy who created this. No derivatives. If you have this symbol, you can't change the stuff. You can sell it, you can share it, but you can't change it. If you have this symbol, you can't sell it, but you can change it and you can share it. That's cool. And if you have this symbol, it's a sort of copyleft idea. It's share alike. It's if you change it and share it, you have to give the next generation of users the same terms you had yourself. I'm talking faster because I have less time. You combine these symbols in different licenses, the six basic licenses. What the idea is, what's the whole point of Creative Commons? Why are we doing this? Well, it's not really sort of to wreck society. It's not to sort of damage copyright beyond repair. That may be a nice idea, but it's not Creative Commons' idea. The idea for Creative Commons is to help creative people to move the dialogue away from the law. As a lawyer, I find it very interesting to see that what I'm doing is saying we don't want to talk about law. We want to talk about creativity. We want people to focus on their creativity. We want people to take stuff. Now, I love the wonderful things on the internet, and my favorites, or among my favorites, are these people who take Japanese cartoons and they mix them together with pop music. Or even better, the recent discussion on the remix of the bunker scene in the Hitler movie that has now had a copyright trouble. This is creative stuff. This is really cool stuff. But of course, it's not necessarily legal stuff. This is why, hopefully, we can have some sort of system where we focus on creativity without being able to fear reprisals. And that's basically my 15 minutes of fame. Thank you.